The cab is partly attached. I've got the back end all bolted together, bolted down. Can't see in there. So what I ended up doing was drilling a hole on that side and over on this side here, and that's where the mount was on the old cab. That beast right there. And there's the bracket that I made for underneath here. 2x2 square tubing, and drilled the holes through it, and that's gonna lift up the cab a little bit higher than the box. Actually, I didn't really care if the cab got lifted up a little higher than what it's supposed to, mainly because it's got to clear this gas tank here, which it just barely does. Just right. So if you look in between here, I'm still sitting a little bit crooked. The front of the cab isn't attached yet, so I've got this all loosened up here already, and I'm just going to unhook everything from up there that's hooked to the back, and then hopefully I can lift up just the front. See how that goes. I've been welding up some little brackets here. Just used the washer off of a mount and an actual mount, and I got them just tack welded in place. I'm just going to fit these in here. Right there. Crank her up a little higher, but you get the idea. These are going in here. So right now, all the weight is off the straps. It's sitting down on the mounts that I just built. And the only problem with those is the mounts, they are just on the floor. And I don't think it's going to be quite solid enough, so I've got these extra little brackets I cut too. So after a whole lot of grinding and welding and way too much thinking, I managed to come up with these two brackets. So this is what they look like. Not going for perfection, but anyway, this is going to mount onto where the original mount goes on this cab, and this is going to mount on where it mounts onto the frame originally. I'm going to have to get some threaded rod and drill a hole through the floorboard and bolt it down to that. And in the meantime, I had this sitting in place where I wanted it, put a little point on this thing just so I could mark where my hole needs to be. Did that on both sides. This should be the final time setting it down. There's my homemade mount right there, and the other one over on the other side, the yellow. What I ended up doing was, okay, right there's a hole through the floor with a threaded rod and a nut. And then from the other side, and then another rubber at the bottom with a nut on the threaded rod. And then this one comes across and bolts on where the cab originally mounted on. My friend Jeff has been calling this One Eyed Willie. He's been calling it WillyStyn, as in Frankenstein.